The world knew him as Yuan Minglong, a luminous star whose voice carried both warmth and longing. On screen, he was the gentle hero whose courage reshaped destinies. Off-screen, he was a musician whose melodies whispered secrets of a soul always seeking truth. In the fictional city of Hanha, where neon lights danced on rain-slick streets and dreams were stitched into the fabric of everyday life, Yuan's music had become legend. From tiny cafes with paper lanterns to stadiums brimming with adoring fans, his harmonies were the soundtrack of countless hearts. But in the weeks before his mysterious fall from a high-rise building that would shake the entire entertainment world, something extraordinary had begun to unfold. Don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories, trending moments, and viral breakdowns. Producer Liang Zhen, known for crafting emotional ballads that echoed through the ages, met Yuan on a rainy autumn afternoon. They had worked together once before, a forgotten single that never saw the light of day. Liang never forgot that voice, how it cradled sorrow, or uplifted hope, often within a single breath. "I never thought we'd work together again," Liang had told him, laughter mingling with a patter of rain. "But I have something unfinished, something only you can give life to." The song was called Eternal Echo, a piece written in the twilight of Liang's youth, filled with yearning for a world where truth and courage walked hand in hand. Yuan agreed to sing it. Little did they know that every line, every chord, would become entangled with destiny itself. In the studio, the air was thick with anticipation. "Sing as if you are speaking to tomorrow," Liang whispered, eyes closed as Yuan began to sing. The melody rose like a promise, fragile yet unbreakable. Lines about a light that refuses to be dimmed, about a heart that beats beyond the boundary of despair, about the courage to speak even when silence feels safer. It was more than a song. It was a heartbeat. Days later, when the world would tremble at news of Yuan's fall from a towering building in the heart of Hanha, fans would play that recording again and again, searching not just for sound, but for meaning. In the wake of tragedy, questions swirled like autumn leaves caught in a storm. Was his fall an accident? A mistake born of exhaustion? Or something darker? In our fictional Hanha, whispers traced through cafe corners and digital forums alike. Some spoke of hidden threats. Some believed in industry secrets veiled behind smiles. Others simply replayed his last recorded voice, wishing just one more note. Yet everywhere his music played, it seemed to whisper back, "The truth is not in silence, but in the echoes we leave behind." Only Liang and Yuan knew that there was one last version of Eternal Echo, a rendition intended for release, but buried in old tapes. Liang had held it close, unsure if the world was ready. Now he faced a choice. One misty morning, Liang uploaded the track to the city's public music archives, without fanfare, without announcement. Just a digital note. For every soul that listens with an open heart. Fans heard it, and when they did, their tears weren't just for a loss. They were for the unspoken hopes that the song's notes carried. A melody for those afraid to speak. A harmony for those who believed in honesty. A rhythm for those who refused to bow to fear. In the months that followed, Eternal Echo became more than a song. It became a legend and a statement. People would tell stories about how Yuan's words once seemed like gentle poetry, and how in that final track they felt something more, courage cloaked as melody. In the city of Hanha, gardens planted trees in his memory. In small cafes, musicians sang his lines in new arrangements. And young artists, trembling with doubt, spoke his lyrics as a vow. No voice truly fades away, not if someone remembers to listen. In a fictional world where harmony and heartbreak collide, a voice, once lost to silence, can carry on forever. Eternal Echo was more than a track, more than music. It was a symbol of a life lived through sound, a legacy etched in hearts, and a reminder that while individuals may pass, the resonance of their spirit remains in every note they leave behind. Weeks after the release of Eternal Echo, Liang Zhen found himself wandering through the studio late at night. The hum of air conditioners and the soft glow of desk lamps were the only companions. Every corner whispered memories of Yuan. The chair he once sat in, the microphone still warm from recent recording sessions, and the stacks of music sheets, some annotated in Yuan's meticulous handwriting, all spoke of a presence that refused to vanish. Liang paused by the soundboard. He pressed play on one of the recordings, and Yuan's voice filled the room, soft and haunting. Even if tomorrow never comes, sing today as if it will last forever. Liang's fingers trembled over the buttons. He hadn't intended to hear this version again. It was a private take, something he had kept hidden, almost sacred. Yet, tonight, something compelled him to play it. As the notes floated through the room, Liang felt a shiver, not of fear, but of realization. This song, this voice, was more than music. It was a bridge between grief and hope, between the living and those who had left. Hanha streets were still tinged with autumn's amber light. The city itself seemed to mourn, almost imperceptibly. Neon signs flickered in a rhythm that somehow echoed the haunting final note of Yuan's recordings. Fans continued to gather in quiet corners, lighting candles and leaving notes, flowers, and small tokens. Many wrote letters to Yuan, as if he might hear them. The city, in its bustling chaos, had become a cathedral of memory. Among them was Mei Lin, a young aspiring singer who had never met Yuan personally, but had been inspired by his courage. She carried a small notebook filled with lyrics and melodies she had written, many echoing themes she'd gleaned from Eternal Echo. His music, it's not just sound, Mei Lin whispered to a friend. It's a map for anyone lost in silence. Her voice trembled, but determination gleamed in her eyes. She wasn't alone. Across the city, others, musicians, fans, even strangers, began to cover Yuan's songs, creating new interpretations. The music lived, mutating, growing, and reaching corners of the world Yuan had never touched in life. Liang discovered something unexpected while reviewing old recordings. A hidden track, unnamed, unlisted, and almost forgotten. Its notes were fragile, almost trembling, and Yuan's voice was softer than ever, carrying an intimacy that made Liang's chest tighten. He realized that this track wasn't meant for public release. It was personal, a confessional of sorts. I wish I could tell the world the things I never said, but maybe, through the song, they will hear it. The words were simple, yet they carried a weight that no press conference or interview ever could. Liang decided, after much hesitation, to preserve the track for a later date. The song, he believed, had to reach the world in the right moment, not as a sensation, but as a story, a lesson, and a legacy. Meanwhile, rumors swirled in social media, speculative yet respectful. Fans dissected every note of Eternal Echo, finding fragments of poetry, hidden phrases, and emotional cues. Some believed that Yuan had intentionally embedded messages for those who truly listened, almost like a secret conversation through music itself. Mei Lin finally found the courage to perform Yuan's songs in public. Her first stage was a small underground cafe, where only a handful of people gathered. She introduced the song with trembling hands. This is for a voice that will never fade. As she sang, her voice grew stronger, shaped not only by her talent, but by the emotion carried through Yuan's original recordings. Her audience fell silent, tears glistening in the dim light. They felt something almost magical, as though Yuan's spirit lingered in every note. After the performance, an elderly musician approached her. He handed her a sheet of music with the words, "The song is yours now. Carry it." The gesture wasn't just symbolic. It was a passing of the torch. Yuan's influence, once thought to have ended abruptly, now lived in new voices, new interpretations, new lives. Liang, now carrying the weight of both grief and purpose, began compiling a full tribute, not a commercial album, but a story told through music, interviews, and personal reflections. In the studio, he set up the recordings alongside photographs, diary entries, and fragments of conversations he had shared with Yuan. It was a tapestry of memory, sound, and emotion. "We don't release just music," Liang said to his assistant. "We release courage, hope, and a chance to speak when words fail." The unfinished track, The Hidden One, became the centerpiece. When it finally premiered, it was not on television, not in the charts, but online in a quiet, intimate format, allowing listeners to truly absorb it. Comments poured in, filled with raw emotion. "I've never felt a song speak to me like this before. It's like he's whispering to my heart directly. I didn't know I could cry this much while smiling." Even those who had never heard of Yuan felt something shift inside them, a reminder of the fleeting beauty of life and the permanence of art. Months turned into a year. The city of Hanha grew colder, yet music warmed its streets. Mei Lin's voice blossomed into a professional career, inspired entirely by Yuan's dedication and courage. She credited her success not to fame, but to the lessons hidden in his music: to face fear, embrace vulnerability, and speak truth even in silence. Liangjin finally returned to the studio where it all began. The microphone, still warm from years of history, awaited new voices. He pressed record, not knowing who would sing next, but confident that the melody and the memory of Yuan would continue. "Music is eternal," Liang whispered. "And so is he." Somewhere in the imagined city of Hanha, the neon lights flickered to the rhythm of an invisible song. A song that promised, "Even if lives end, the echoes of our spirit remain," carried by those brave enough to listen. In the months following Yuan's passing, fans began sending letters to the studio. Some were simple notes of thanks, others were confessions of personal struggles, inspired by his songs. Liang Zhen kept each one in a large oak chest, reading them carefully in the quiet of his office. One letter stood out. It was from a young man named Jinyu, who wrote, "I've lived most of my life afraid to speak. But when I listened to Eternal Echo, I felt someone was telling me it's okay to exist, to be heard. I hope you'll share more of his songs. They saved me." Liang felt a lump in his throat. He realized that Yuan's music had grown beyond fame. It had become a lifeline. It wasn't just entertainment, it was a connection between souls. The hidden track, which Liang had kept locked away, became a focal point of the story. After months of careful editing, he decided the time had come to reveal it. He named it Whispered Tomorrow, a tribute not only to Yuan but to everyone who had felt lost in the shadows. When the track finally aired online, it was like a quiet storm. Fans shared clips of themselves listening, crying, and singing along. The hidden lyrics, poetic and introspective, felt like a secret conversation between Yuan and each listener. "If you ever feel alone, know that my melody will find you. Even in silence, we are together." It quickly became an anthem for courage, and social media exploded with people performing their own renditions. The song's haunting beauty carried a universal message: that art can connect hearts even when lives are tragically cut short. Mei Lin, inspired by the hidden track, began her journey in earnest. She started performing not just in small cafes but in community events, online streams, and eventually televised competitions. Each performance carried Yuan's influence: the gentle phrasing, the emotional intensity, and the quiet courage in every note. Liang, observing from the sidelines, became her mentor. He would often say, "Sing like you are speaking for everyone who has no voice. That is how Yuan sang. That is how you honor him." Through her growth, Mei Lin learned that music wasn't just about hitting notes. It was about carrying a legacy, channeling emotions, and creating hope. Yuan's teachings, though unspoken, lived in her every gesture and every breath of melody. The city of Hanha became a hub of remembrance. Fans organized small gatherings, often in the exact cafes where Yuan had performed. They shared stories, sang together, and even taught one another to play the songs on instruments. Among these gatherings, a fan named Lianhua started a journal documenting every detail: lyrics, fan art, personal interpretations of songs, and even transcripts of Liang's interviews. What began as a small blog evolved into a communal archive, ensuring that Yuan's influence would be preserved for generations. "He may have left the world," Lianhua wrote, "but he's still teaching us how to live." The city's cafes became living memorials, where every chord strummed felt like a heartbeat connecting the past with the present. As Yuan's legacy spread, rumors naturally followed, some malicious, some romanticized, some purely speculative. Fans and media alike tried to piece together what really happened in his final days. Liang, however, remained calm. He refused to participate in speculation. Instead, he focused on music, Yuan's music. "The world can invent stories about tragedy," he said quietly to Mei Lin. "But the truth of him is here." He tapped the console, in the notes, in the lyrics, in every voice that carries him forward. This perspective resonated with fans, many of whom realized that Yuan's life wasn't defined by mystery or rumors, but by the beauty he left behind. One night, Mei Lin received an invitation to perform at a large concert hall, the first major venue of her career. She was nervous, aware that thousands would attend. Yet she carried the spirit of Yuan with her, his songs whispering courage into her heart. As she walked on stage, the lights dimmed, and the audience held their breath. The first notes of Eternal Echo began, soft and fragile, then swelling into a full orchestral arrangement. Mei Lin's voice soared, echoing Yuan's original phrasing, yet uniquely her own. It was a moment of transcendence. The audience didn't just hear song. They felt a story of hope, courage, and love spanning generations. Cameras caught tearful reactions, social media lit up, and fans around the world streamed her performance live, experiencing a collective emotional release. After the concert, Liang sat in his office, listening to the recording of Mei Lin's performance. He allowed himself a rare moment of vulnerability, tears streaming down his face. He would have been proud, Liang whispered. Not of fame, not of applause, but that his music lives on in hearts. Liang realized that Yuan's true legacy was not in awards or headlines. It was in the courage to speak, the bravery to feel, and the ability to connect people across time, space, and circumstance. The hidden track, once a secret, was now a living bridge connecting the past and the present. Every note resonated like a heartbeat, eternal, unyielding, unforgettable. 1 year after Yuan's passing, fans organized a tribute concert in Hanha's Central Plaza. Hundreds of performers, young and old, came together to sing his songs. The city itself seemed to pulse with music, the neon lights flickering in rhythm with the melodies. Mei Lin closed the concert with "Whispered Tomorrow," her voice trembling but unwavering. As the last note faded, the audience stood in silence, not mourning, but honoring, celebrating, and remembering. Liang looked from the control booth, smiling softly. Yuan's legacy was no longer bound by tragedy. It had become a beacon of hope. As the plaza emptied and the night sky stretched above Hanha, Mei Lin stood alone on the stage. She looked up at the stars, whispering words she felt Yuan might have said. "Carry this forward. Sing for those who cannot. Live for those who cannot. And remember, no voice ever truly fades away." The wind carried her words through the empty streets, intertwining with the echoes of Yuan's voice, a melody without end. And somewhere, in the hearts of every listener, his song continued. Eternal echoes. Forever alive. Don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories, trending moments, and viral breakdowns.